In a new sign that Americans are ready to move on from the pandemic, more people traveled by air over the weekend than at any point since the crisis began. It comes as the U.S. set a new record Friday for vaccinations, with more than 4 million in a single day. More than 106 million Americans have received at least one dose. That's 40% of the adult population. Health officials are concerned, though, that we're loosening restrictions too fast, potentially causing another spike. Errol Barnett is at Newark Liberty International Airport. Errol, what's the advice for travelers?
Well, Anthony, the advice remains, if you can, refrain from air travel. But judging on the traffic we're seeing here at this terminal this morning and the millions of people who traveled this weekend, many people just cannot refrain. They have to get out. Many folks heading back now after seeing friends and family for the Easter weekend. And this comes just as the CDC issues new guidance for people who are vaccinated. You don't have to self-quarantine or test before you fly. But the major caveat here is it still advises against international travel and non-essential domestic trips.
In San Jose, California, Kathy Anderson reunited with her daughter for the first time in a year.
I love you too.
Anderson is one of the millions of Americans who returned to the skies this weekend, shattering pandemic travel records. Increased demand prompted Delta Airlines to temporarily open up middle seats, and Americans' domestic bookings are at 90% of pre-pandemic levels.
It just seems like all of a sudden it's a rush.
Larry Pettis says he felt more comfortable flying because he'd been fully vaccinated. He's one of the 61 million Americans, roughly 1/5 of U.S. adults, who fall in that category.
We know for vaccinated people, it's reasonably safe to do this. But among unvaccinated people, it is not yet. And I'm worried that it's going to lead to, unfortunately, more infections and more hospitalizations.
Dr. Ashish Jha says decreased testing, relaxation of public health measures, and new variants are now contributing to the spread of COVID in several states.
It really is a race right now between these variants that have become widespread and are spreading much more effectively and quickly, and how many people we can protect through vaccines.
The variant initially detected in the UK now accounts for about 26% of COVID cases in the US. And this weekend, officials announced a new variant initially identified in India was found in the Bay Area.
It's actually just made up of a couple of other variants that we've seen elsewhere. The data so far suggests that it may be more contagious, like the UK variant is.
Now, as scary as that sounds, Jha says that the vaccines do appear effective against the variants, and more Americans are getting these shots. All of that, not just encouraging news for everyone's health, but for the travel industry, which has been battered by the pandemic. The hotel and leisure sector added 280,000 jobs during the pandemic, but Gayle, the unemployment rate is still twice the national average at 13%. So positive signs, but a long way to go.
Yeah, very positive signs. I love a good airport hug, but you're right, unemployment not so great. Thank you, Errol. Good to see you.